We've spent the last few videos looking at the process equipment used for incinerators, pyrolysis, and gasification reactors. The process equipment itself used in thermal treatment is typically only about half of the actual equipment required to be in a facility, with the other half going towards pollution control for both the ash and the air emissions. So what we'll dive into in the next few videos is those two topics. And we'll start with the air pollution because one of the outputs of the air pollution control is fly ash, which we can talk about with ash management after that. So what we'll talk about in this section is this whole kind of from the outside of the boiler all the way through all the things you need to do to treat the different key contaminants that come in the air emissions coming out of thermal treatment process. So this is most relevant to incineration, where we actually have all that oxygen added and attempting to get full burnout. It would not be applicable to gasification or pyrolysis if the products of those reactions were not combusted on site. But for something like a modular reactor, incinerator reactor, where we are gasifying and then burning it, then you'd find something similar on the back end of that sort of plant. So to start off, we haven't touched on regulations too much for thermal treatment yet, and that's because at the front end, they're very similar to other waste facilities, basically around the hazards of the tip floor itself. But there's a unique characteristics with thermal treatment of all the stuff coming out of the back end. And that's what the Ontario Ministry Guideline A7 is all about, air pollution control design for municipal thermal waste treatment. And it also talks about ash management, even though the title is air pollution control. So just kind of as an interesting way to dive into this topic, I have a little scavenger hunt through this guideline that will kind of pick up some of the most important parts of it, and then we'll come back and talk about them. So there's 7 questions here that you can look for in the guideline. I'll link it below. And the underlined portions will give you a clue as to where to find those parts. If you search those terms, then you should be able to locate the parts of the guideline that are relevant. But take a look through the table of contents, scroll through and get a good sense of what's all in there, and we'll kind of unpack it and talk through it in the next few videos.